Hi everybody, I hope you guys are doing great today. This is going to be a February read for the whole month, okay? And I am going to break it out into weeks as we go along. And for each week, I'm going to get into the specifics of the minutia kind of transits, but right now I want to just talk about the largest things that are happening in the sky, and then I'm going to get into the specifics for each sign. So each of the signs are going to have this part of the video front loaded, and I'm going to timestamp below. So if you're not interested in listening to the astrology, that's totally fine. Just check out the description box and just fast forward to whatever time is indicated that the tarot is going to start being pulled. Okay, we do have a lot of things going on this month though worth talking about. So let's start with February 3rd. Mercury is entering into Pisces. So it's going to be there from the 3rd until the 4th of March. And when Mercury is in Pisces, our thinking processes are more visual, more imaginative, more intuitive. We are especially in tune to our emotions, which ends up inflecting and coloring both our thoughts and the way we communicate. So, we express ourselves with imagery and we make decisions very intuitively. Our intuition is going to be really turned up. So we're definitely going to feel more of an affinity to things that are consciousness raising, during that transit. Then on the 7th, we have Venus entering Aries. So Venus is going to be in Aries from the 7th all the way to March 4th as well. And in Aries, love is very spontaneous and direct. Like the chase is very exciting to us under this influence. Just think about Aries. Think about Venus, right? With this thing that we love, our connection with money, right? And Aries, which is the Emperor energy, right? Which is about, I want to just get it done now, So we're both very it's an exciting energy because we're both bold and motivated, but a little impatient when it comes to areas having to do with relationships, intimate relationships, any sort of matters of the heart. The funny thing with this energy though is, guys, like with Aries energy underneath this, we don't look back with Aries energy. We're not interested in saying sorry or dwelling on the past. It's like a brand new day. What's done is done. The toothpaste is out of the tube, as I always say, right? It's time to make things work right now and not really focus on everything that happened in the past. Because Aries is known for love of the chase, right? And the conquest. But Aries love can be very long-standing nonetheless, as long as it remains pretty fresh and exciting, right? But also in this energy, remember, Aries is very blunt. Like there's no sugarcoating with Aries, which is actually what most of us love about Aries. The thing is, this can sting. Now, we could be this way to other people can be this way to us, but rarely is this Aries energy mean or petty or vindictive. It's not like that. It's more about just saying it like it is important in this energy, because it's a very Aries-driven energy. Desires are strong and expressed very spontaneously, enthusiastically, and very directly, because Aries prefer to get right to the point. They prefer to seduce rather than to be seduced, to chase rather than be chased. It's very kind of like up front and center, and we're all going to kind of be feeling it, very strongly. Now, those of us who were tuned in, we're going to be able to recognize that energy, and we can take opportunity with it, because it's all kind of good, really exciting. Then on February 9th, we have the full moon in Leo. So this marks the beginning of a new cycle. Okay, the rule of the moon is the sun. So the phase of the moon is occurring at 20 degrees and 0 minutes of Leo, affecting people born with personal planets and points at approximately like 15, 16 to 24, 25 degrees of the fixed sign. So that would be Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius, the most significantly. We're all going to be feeling it, but especially those placements. And here, in this energy, you're going to feel safe in moments when you feel like you can impress others and get some kind of praise and some sort of admiration, some sort of attention. But yet when you get into the spotlight, or you're getting that attention that you swore you wanted, You might find yourself at a loss for words or feeling uncomfortable. So just be careful and clear with yourself about what you really actually even want right now from a person or a situation. Because this can be a time we should all be admitting to any fears of criticism and really looking at our ability or inability to accept criticism right now. It's very, very important to accept feedback during this energy, to use it for improvement right now, right? In whatever area of life that's impacting you in. Now, for many of us, this full moon will peak on a Sunday too, emphasizing the role of soul in the horoscope. And while the Aquarian sun, right, because it's what it is, isn't making any major aspects to other planets besides Mars, his ruler, is aligned with the nodal axis and Mercury. Okay, so we have this Aquarius sun, which is the only air sign present, but there's plenty of fire with the moon, Mars, and Venus all in this warm element. But it can end up feeling kind of restrictive or suffocating, since fire needs air to burn brightly, right? But it also has a habit of consuming all the oxygen. You follow? So it's uncomfortable and it's like a disjointed energy. So you may just feel like a little off, right, during this time. Just like a little off, like a little left of center, a little restricted, where you're starting to feel this restlessness because you're starting to feel this change. And guys, when I said that January was like, step 1, round 1, this is step 2, round 2. We are really in a very definitive way moving forward. So there's this restlessness that's going to be really starting to poke at us, okay? Now on the 16th of February, we have Mars entering Capricorn. And this is Mars is in Capricorn from the 16th to the 30th of March. And Mars in Cap is debilitated. It's very deliberate energy here. We consider the future and the consequences before taking action during this cycle. So our energy is reliable and it's very faithful. We're very slow to anger, but it can be really, really cold if we're frustrated, if we're feeling frustrated, where we kind of go into like shutdown mode. Because the shadow side of this energy, like the shadow side of Mars in Capricorn, is being very rigid, very single-minded, very focus in a very narrow way. So it's just something that we want to keep in mind. And then on the 16th, we have Mercury turning retrograde in Pisces. Okay, here we go again, guys. But you know what? We can't sweat Mercury going retrograde. It's literally retrograde half our life. And it's like that for a reason. And it's not a big deal. It's really not. So for those of you who aren't familiar with Mercury retrograde, it's a time of everything. Revisiting things that you started in the past, renewing things, anything, okay? What you don't want to do, if you can help it, is to start anything brand spanking new. Like, not the best energy to start a brand new relationship, because typically the energy does not support like a strong foundation being built. Same thing with the job or whatever. But you know what? Listen, the truth of the matter is, if we really look at what we're doing, for example, if you got a job, you've been waiting for this job and it comes in during Mercury retrograde, don't be crazy. Take the job. Just make sure you read the fine print, because what can end up happening is it ends up not rolling out initially the way you were first told or you first thought. Same thing with a relationship. Things end up not being how they first presented themselves, okay? But we can't stop life, okay? But this is a very different kind of Mercury retrograde, I think, in Pisces. It's going retrograde at 12 degrees of Pisces. So it's going to be retrograde from February 16th to March 9th at 28 degrees Aquarius. But the shadow begins February 2nd and ends March 29th. So it's kind of like a long transit, really, if you think about it. And really here in Pisces and Aquarius, the water signs are emotional and sentimental, and the Pisces and Aquarius natives are also very full of imagination right now, like big time. Confusion, lots of emotions rising up to the top, right? Everybody's going to be up in their feels, because think about Mercury doesn't actually go backwards. It sort of just stops this movement, right? So it's like hanging there in Pisces, which is the most mature water sign, right? It's the most mature out of all the water signs. It's very deep, ruled by who? Ruled by Neptune. I mean, it's just like this deep, earthy, dreamy energy. So there's going to be a lot of feelings going on here. And there is difficult compatibility between Mercury and Pisces, but even more challenging with the retrograde motion of Mercury in Aquarius. Is with Mercury retrograde in the water signs, we can expect some revisions of the unconscious emotional patterns of thinking that we've been holding. Like, what makes you feel secure? What makes you feel insecure? Where do your allegiances lie? And when do you tend to react out of habit without thinking? Mercury retrograde in Pisces or Aquarius will make you aware of these things, allowing you to correct them, to do some really deep psychological healing, which is really good, but you just need to be prepared to be up in your fields, right? Because then on the 18th, we have the sun entering Pisces. And this is going to be from the 18th of February to March 19th. And with the sun in Pisces, we're guided by very altruistic feelings. We're less motivated to do than we are to feel and to imagine and dream. And, you know, it's kind of like that Que Sera Sera song, you know, it's like whatever will be, like whatevs, you know. We're guided by our sense of like these universal connections. Pisces rules empathy and selfless love and devotion and wisdom. Its shadow side rules self-pity and a feeling of being victimized by life and elusiveness and passivity. So we want to just make sure that we're really functioning in our highest vibration, because if you are by any chance, because everybody's in a different place in their life, if you're feeling these things, just really just understand it's just that sun placement, right? In Pisces, it's going to pass, but try to figure out a way of pivoting yourself out of that. Okay, now we do have the Jupiter sextiling Neptune on the 20th. Jupiter at 17 degrees, Capricorn 45 forms a sextile to Neptune at 17 degrees, Pisces 45. You know, I like this. This is the first set of 3 that we're going to have of this Jupiter sextile Neptune. So this is the first one, right? And then the second one's going to be in July, on the 27th of July. And the third is going to be in October 12th. So with this longer term aspect, idealistic and dreamy goals or impulses end up surfacing now, okay? They come up to the surface now. Making connections with others from different backgrounds or who just... I mean, I think is what ends up really showing up more than anything is people who live differently from us can show up in our life right now. And what ends up happening is we widen our minds through unusual or different experiences that we have through other people, and that could just be part of our story during this time. You know, it's like practical things take a back seat during this energy. And we're feeling very generous and very compassionate. Our faith is boosted. So I think this is really, really positive. We're definitely more inclined to make personal sacrifices for what we believe to be the higher good for those people or situation in our lives. So that is a really beautiful aspect that's so nice to have as support as we go into this new moon on February 23rd. Because the new moon in Pisces on the 23rd is very special, yet it could feel like a foggy one. With Pisces playing host to both Neptune, right, the moon's ruler, and Mercury retrograde, the traditional ruler of Pisces is Jupiter, for those of you who aren't sure. And some of you guys actually mentioned that I was incorrect in saying that that Neptune rules Pisces, and you know, no, Neptune does rule Pisces now. Jupiter there's been a lot of changes in astrology. That's why I say astrology is very similar to religion in certain ways, right? Because we have different systems, different beliefs, but we're all kind of going for the same thing, right? Pisces, so the traditional ruler of Pisces is Jupiter. So we do still kind of consider that in there when we're thinking about things. Now 18 degrees Capricorn aligned with the modern ruler Neptune at 17 degrees, but it's going to be squaring to Venus at 18 degrees of Aries. Okay, so remember that Venus governs our relationships, finances, confidence, things we love to do for pleasure. So these things could feel challenging with this square at the new moon. And yet, despite the tension in the stars, this is still a sweetly aspected and productive new moon to work with, because Mars has left Sagittarius and now joins the South Node in Capricorn, the last in a long line of planets to connect with this karmic point of shifts and goodbyes. So this indicates some final pushes, guys, removals and eradications that are underway. It's a wonderful detox energy of letting go of that dead wood that I've been talking about. It's all being set in motion here, right? So this is all about stage 2. You know, this is good. This is good. And Mars perfectly aligns with this new moon, as well as the nodal axis in Uranus too. So this is all about synchronicity right now in very easy formation, allowing us to invoke the change that we've all been working on with less pain. It's just not going to be as difficult as it's been to release things from our lives. Okay, and that's just something that we're all just generally going to be going through. Okay, and as I go through each week with each of the signs, I'm going to be getting more specific with house placements and whatnot. But right now, I'm just going to go right into pulling for your sign, just the tarot messages for the month of February 2020. Thanks so much, guys. I'll see you on the other side. Hi Scorpio, thanks for hanging with me. Let's get right into this. We're going to pull a Rebel Oracle for your crowning. Hope you guys are doing great today. Remember, these are general messages for Scorpio, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. Please don't try to make the messages fit. If they don't, guys, remember the energies could always be vice versa. And you want to make sure you check your rising sign, your moon sign, and your Venus. If you don't have time to check all of that, guys, at least your rising. It's arguably the most important sign. It is the way we view the world through that lens, the way the world views us. Really very important placement. So, all right, let's see what advice does Scorpio need. Rebel Oracle for February 2020. What advice does Scorpio need? Any advice for Scorpio, please? Softly, softly, the tender touch. Yeah. So this tells me, Scorpio, that a lot of you guys have been working really, really hard towards something, and you've learned a lot and you've accomplished a lot, but now it's time to change your approach. You want to try to let go of any force in your approach to manifesting what it is that you really want right now, whether it's a relationship, a job, a friendship, a family situation to be different than it is right now. Everything serves a purpose, and learning the benefit and limitation of a more forceful way of trying to manifest something through effort and willpower, as useful as all of that has been for you, that's not going to work anymore. If you continue with that approach, it's going to stop working for you, because you're now beginning to create on a much greater scale than, and it's beyond what an individual can manifest through just willpower alone. So there is this element of really needing to kind of like give it over to spirit and let spirit, really work for you and with you to making, to help make something come to fruition, And this is really actually going to end up, the pulling back is kind of like making room for the energy to move in and do its thing. I mean, in a very simplistic form, that's what it is. So by pushing something before it's ready, or by trying to make somebody see something that they don't see, or trying to make a situation be something that it's not ready to become, you end up putting up energetic blocks, quite simply. And you don't want to do that, because, the message here is energy wants to come in and do its thing with you. But you don't want to get in your own way of something manifesting. So as I've said in a bunch of videos before, people talk about manifesting and all of this stuff, and it can be pretty disheartening, because you can really want something and you want it and you pray on it and you meditate on it if you're inclined to that, and you do all the things that everybody in the spiritual community say to do. Get a blue pen and write down what it is that you want, and then fold it up and put it somewhere special, and don't go near it for 6 months. You hear all these kinds of things, right? But at the end of all of that, in reality, what it is, if you think about it, just keeping it real, if you hyper-focus on something and you try to push it, you end up creating blocks. So you need to wish for something, hope for something, energetically envision yourself there, and then let it go. Let it go. Busy yourself, pivot your energy into doing something else. It's not easy, but that is really the best way to manifest things. Almost unfailingly, I could tell you from my own experience in my life and from the many people that I work with, it's pretty unbelievable. The worst thing you could do is ruminate and hyper-focus on something, Focus on yourself. Focus on being a better version of yourself. We can always stand for improvement, all of us, right? All of us. 10 of Swords. You guys are like the 4th sign, I think, that got 10 of Swords as the situation right now. Not mad at it. In the reverse, nonetheless. Interesting. 7 of Swords. 2 of Cups in reverse. Page of Wands in reverse. I'm going to pull the cards and we'll talk about it, okay? And then we'll do a love at the end. Do a love read at the end with the oracles. Not an extended one, because I am going to be doing a pretty long love read coming up for Valentine's Day. All right. So let's see what we have. We have the 10 of Swords. Well, why don't we go from the past, okay? So we have the Empress energy in the past. So this tells me that you were in a situation with either in a relationship, a job, any sort of friendship, any sort of connection where you thought that there was growth. You felt that there was a lot of growth potential. As the Empress is the mother of the tarot, so this is all about growth and expansion, perpetually pregnant, cultivating, nurturing something until it levels up and it's birthed into something out into the 3D, only to be done all over again. So it's like a very forward movement, beautiful, beautiful energy here. So I feel if this has to do with a job, you being in your past, you really thinking, yeah, okay, this is where I belong. This is it, right? If you were in a relationship, yeah, this is definitely where I belong. This is it. Now, we have these two energies right now. So we have the 10 of Swords in reverse. So this is the end of a cycle. It's one sword at a time over time. Put in the back. The reversal just means that there's anger, there's bitterness, there's hurt, can even be betrayal, but there's a deep-seated feeling involved with this end of a cycle. And it's because it's being crossed by the 7 of Swords energy. Now, this is an interesting energy, guys. It's a moon in Aquarius energy. And when we say the moon, that means the moon represents what we do in private, yes, but it's also the very deepest recess of ourselves that often we elect not to look at, or sometimes we don't even know we need to look at, but it's the deepest part of ourselves. And Aquarius is ruled by Uranus, which is all about doing things differently. It's about boom, surprise. So something happened suddenly here, and it's like you realize that things were just not exactly what you thought they were. Right? And it ended up being this impossibility of meeting of the minds. This is the type of argument with this energy where you see things completely differently than the other person, and you just can't have a meeting of the minds. And it ends up getting into the kind of arguing, though, that ends up trailing off into something ugly, where there's a bastardizing of ideas, them claiming you said something that you didn't, that you did something that you didn't, you doing that to them. This just back and forth kind of messy kind of fighting, gaslighting, deflection, all that stuff. But at the end of it, you just left with this understanding that what you believed to be true, at the end of it all, what you believed to be true with this relationship, with this friendship, with this job, initially, is not what ended up coming to pass. It's not what ended up showing up in reality. And the bottom line is things have to end, right? In order for you to move into this next space in your life. This is an ending of a cycle here. This is an ending of a cycle. Now, we have the 2 of Cups in reverse crowning you. This is a Venus in Cancer energy. Now, let's think about that. Venus is about the planet of love, but it's also money for us, right? So this really can connect to either a relationship or a career most profoundly. And Cancer is all about that metaphorical home space, Cancer is home. You know, when we say we feel at home with somebody, or we feel at home doing a certain activity, no, it's metaphorical. That's what it is. But Cancer is also about love. Some of you might be dealing with a Cancer or Cancer rising. But Cancer is also about love, and Cancer, very important to Cancer, is the feeling of security, of safety. Very, very, very important to Cancer, okay? So this idea of something in your love space, if it has to do with your career, you're doing something that you really love. If it has to do with relationship, it has to do with things happening in the relationship that really speak to your heart space. And these ideas being in reverse, not attainable right now within this connection. It's just not attainable. You guys can't have that meeting of the minds, you know? So you don't have that feeling of safety within this situation. You don't have that feeling of home with them anymore. You did it one time because it's reverse, which means the feelings were there. So at one time you felt safe. At one time you felt that home connection in that job, with that relationship, in that relationship with that person. And then the foundation, we have the Page of Wands in the reverse. So this is the Earth of the suit of fire, which means that we're talking about like the most practical, nut and bolt necessity for you to feel passion and desire in order to move something forward. And in the reverse, it's just not there. So there's delay here, and there's a lack of motivation to move something forward in this new cycle. But you're not happy about it. You're not happy about it. I mean, the Nine of Swords is way more positive in the reverse. I do like it in the reverse better, because what it indicates is that the worst part is over. You're still feeling anxiety. You're still feeling that 3 a.m. poking at you kind of anxiety. Some of you might be struggling with some depression because of this situation. But the worst of it is over. And now you're on the upward tick. You are on the upward tick. Now, external to you, this is not you now. This is an external energy to you. Okay, the Four of Pentacles energy. So this is a Sun and Capricorn energy. So this tells me that a lot of you, this is a very self-protective vibe, first of all. So I feel like whoever you're dealing with is in a mode of self-protection. Even if it's your boss, like they're watching their back, they're watching their words. There is this vibe of just being careful, and being very calculated and slow in making any kind of move. Okay, because Capricorn's ruled by Saturn, and Saturn's all about going slow in order to make deep shifts in another direction. And this energy is external to you. Okay, so this could be somebody who you've been in a relationship with, and them just being like sitting back in self-protection mode, so they're not coming forth and reaching out to you right now. Or it's that boss where, you know, there's that big elephant in the room that you know you need to talk about, but they're just not yet. They're being very guarded. Or that friend or family member, they're being very guarded in conversation with you and trying to even have a conversation about what's gone on. And we have in your fear position, Temperance reverse. Now, the Temperance is an alchemical energy. It's a Sagittarius energy, right? So Sagittarius, remember, is where our faith lives in the zodiac, right? Sagittarius is the card of religion, faith system, belief system, what we believe for ourselves in our life, anything like that, right? And the Temperance energy is about the alchemical process of figuring out what you need, what I need, what the relationship needs, or what you need, what your boss needs, and what the job requires. It's this idea of mixing together what everybody needs in a way that speaks to their truth, right? In a way that speaks to the truth. And it's impossible to have temperance without solid communication and compromise and compassion, right? And in the reverse, in your fear, you're fearing that this is not going to happen. that there's not going to be a meeting of the minds, that you're not going to be able to have your needs met, that you're not going to be able to meet the needs of somebody else, and you're not going to be able to show up in the way that you need to in the relationship, and they're not going to be able to. Or at the end of the day, this job is not going to be able to give you what you need, and you're a little nervous because you might not have any prospects right now, even though you know that it's not the right thing for you. But we do have the outcome energies, the King of Wands, and I do like this. This is a Cancer and Leo energy. Okay, so some of you might be dealing with a Cancer or a Leo, or maybe a Cancer-Leo combination. But if this is a situation as an outcome, okay, I really like this because Cancer, again, is about home and safety and just feeling at one with something, and Leo is a strong fire energy, and it's about getting front and center and getting out there and feeling really motivated and passionate about something and by something, right? So it's this new thing that's sort of awoke in you that you just really want to go for. Now, it can be a revisiting of a relationship. It can be a new relationship. This can certainly be a new job. Something occurs to you out of nowhere and you just want to go for it, right? But in the near future, and that's the outcome, but then the future energy is the Two of Swords. So I feel like you have this new thing here, but you end up being confused about it. The Two of Swords is the Moon in Libra. And so again, Moon is about digging deep, getting real with your inner feelings, the inner recesses of you, and tapping into that Libra energy, which is not only about fairness, because Libra's, the glyph for Libra is scales, and about fairness, but Libra's ruled by Venus. So Venus is all about, right, everything I said before, everything we love and money, right? And it's trying to find fairness in what speaks to your heart space. Is there fairness in this relationship? Should I stay on this path with this person? Is it fair? Even though I have this new breath of life breathed into the relationship, am I ultimately going to be what they need? Are they ultimately going to be what I need? Is this right for me? Is this right? Is this job right? I'm confused. Do I stay in this job or do I go in another direction? I have this fire in my belly, but I don't know. So, I mean, Scorpio, really, that's just letting fear slip in, You're putting yourself in a state of analysis paralysis here, because this really is the energy of pressing the pause button while you figure out which speaks to your truth the greatest. Now, some of you may have this King of Wands coming into you. And this is a fast moving energy trying to sweep you off your feet. This could be a job offer. This could be a person. This could be somebody returning from the past. Just considering that this February we do have Mercury retrograde, and so there are going to be a lot of reconnections and reconciliations and a lot of re's, and it's really not a good energy to start a brand spanking new relationship. It's just really not. I mean, if you meet and you keep it light and then you get more serious after the retrograde season, it has the energy just doesn't support a strong foundation. I mean, that's what it is, But this confusion here, you're like, oh man, what do I do? What do I do? Because I feel like this is like a new energy. Let's pull a few cards on that. The King of Wands. Let's get some energy on this King of Wands. Five of Swords. Okay, so an argument's going to be happening. Queen of Wands. Oh. Okay. So this is a situation that you're meant to learn a lot of lessons in, no question. There's karma being addressed here, and there's a soul connection here. And that could even, guys, that could even have to do with a career. You understand? Even a job. Because there are lessons that need to be learned here. Interesting. Yeah. Okay. I mean, this is very interesting to me. So you have the King of Wands and we have the Queen of Wands in the reverse, which tells me, like, when we have these two guys who show up like that, especially as like a clarifier, this is a soul connection. There's some sort of soul contract here that's writing itself. And again, this could be, we have this with our boss, with our friends, with our family connections even. But there's definitely going to be an argument here about what's true, what's not true. You know, the 5 is about conflict and really about trying to get front and center what's real, what's not. But I feel like there's going to be this air clearing. There's going to be a lot of air clearing. And then we have this 3 of Wands. You know, the 3 of Wands is the Sun and Aries energy. So this indicates a new cycle. And this indicates turning your back on whatever cycle that you guys were in and starting something new. Yes. Somebody wanting to start something new with you, Scorpio, at least the wanting. And I feel like you're going to end up being confused about it. You're going to be confused about whether you should let this person stay in your energy field, if you should release them and let them go. If it has to do with relationship, if it has to do with the job, it's the same thing. You know, should you keep this job in your energy field? Should you keep it in your 3D, or should you move into something else? You know, you know, there needs to be a decision ultimately, but I do feel like there is this opportunity for a new start here with the 3 of Wands here. Because the Sun is really, really positive. And Aries is there's a newness to Aries, because Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. And Aries is the Emperor energy. They are the leaders of the zodiac. But there's a newness. So it's like being the Emperor and being in charge of this new cycle that you're moving into. Not bringing the old with you. Right? And I just, you know, hope that if this newness comes in, the only thing, Scorpio, I'm just like a little concerned with the 2 of Swords is the future energy, because I hope it's not you trying to micromanage something to be something specifically a certain way and not accepting it if it's other than that. Where you're trying to micromanage, because again, that's where we can set up the energetic blocks for ourselves. Because I do have to tell you, I get a very good vibe from this. Whatever's coming in. Whatever it is, if it's somebody offering you a new job, if it's a new relationship, a rekindling of a relationship, there's something very, I don't feel like it's a new relationship. I don't feel like that, because I don't feel like I would have gotten the Queen Wand reverse, which tells me that there are lessons being learned here. And I wouldn't have gotten the 5 of Swords. Right? That's not a new, I mean, this explains to me this king here. Yeah, to me there's a fight and there's a discussion about the delay, why things haven't been working, what's with the lack of passion, what's with the lack of motivation and everything. But there being this air clearing about all of these reverse wands. You know, where did the passion go? What happened? What dampened all of it in the situation? Having the conversation, fighting it out, having some air clearing, and then recognize you want a new cycle. And whoever it is that you're dealing with really wants this. At least energetically. That's what I'm getting. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's what we have for that. Let's go into love. Those of you in a space of love. Okay, we'll pull a few of these. A few of the heart oracles and a few of the Island Time Wellness. And just some general messages. If it resonates, guys. If not, this is just not your message, okay? That's the way tarot works. Okay. I feel resistance from these cards right now. I don't know who's resisting out there in Scorpio land. Romance. Ask for help. Be in the present and dream of the future. Ooh, guys. Be in the present. Be in the present. Don't try to micromanage everything. Don't try to figure out everything right now. When we dream, everything is possible. Just really live in the moment of something that's in front of you right now. Ask for help. What do you really need? Be willing to accept support. Romance. Lavish the one you love with personal attention and affection. let's get some heart oracles. Those are super general. Then we get a little more specific with these, and then we get even more specific with the Island Time Wellness. So be in the present, ask for help, and romance. Lavish the one you love with personal attention and affection. When we dream, everything is possible. This one is like, wait! Wait, don't rush into it. Allow nature to take its course. Are you kidding me? That's exactly what this says. Wait, okay, hold on. So here, this one says, let there be closeness between you, but always give each other space. Love never claims. It simply allows and gives. Oops. Don't make decisions based on guilt or what you think you should do, for it is only in being true to yourself that you can be true to others. I just feel like these are really going back to that oracle. But this doesn't have to, again, this doesn't have to resonate with the Celtic cross spread we just did. It might, but it doesn't have to. That could have had to do with career. This could be relationship. Don't make decisions based on guilt or what you think you should do, for it's only in being true to yourself that you can be true to others. Let there be closeness between you, but always give each other space. Yeah. Yeah, wait. Don't rush into it. Allow nature to take its course. Yeah, let something happen naturally. Okay. Okay, let me just think here for a second. Okay, Scorpio. Coffin. Endings bring new beginnings. Growth, change, liberation, transition. Separation, sadness, missing you, thinking about you, yearning, unsure of the future. I mean, this is what we've been saying here. I like you. Romance is blooming. Want to date. Fun flirting. Guys, this is a beautiful energy to get even if you've been together for 50 years. I mean, this is really like, I like you. Like, I like you. I like being with you, Scorpio. I like you. I want this new beginning. I'm thinking about you. I miss you. I feel sad. This is you feeling like this towards someone feeling this towards you. Yeah. And there's just, I feel like there is this transformational vibe about this, because these are kind of heavy heart oracles. It's like, number one, don't rush anything, right? Let everything just kind of unroll naturally. Even if you guys have been together forever and you're having this rekindling of a cycle, or you've been apart and you have this rekindling, but you had been together for a long time, it's okay not to go right back and pick up where you were not left off. You don't want to do that anyway, because that cycle's over. So you need to kind of figure out what this new world is and this new way of being is. So that makes so much sense. And let there be closeness between you, but always give each other space. Love never claims, it just allows. So I feel like that's going to be looking at any potential codependent issues within the relationship, but recognizing the importance of connection, but still maintaining respect for each other's individuality. And don't make decisions based on guilt or what you think you should do, for it's only in being true to yourself that you can be true to others. So there's this vibe of necessary autonomy in the relationship, where there needs to be this understanding that you guys need to respect each other's individuality while still coupling in a loving and connected way. And that's hard. You know, if you happen to be somebody, or you're dealing with somebody who struggles with any kind of intimacy issues or insecurities or any sort of codependency issues, because typically that mindset understand any sort of autonomy as being pushed away from, rather than it just being an exercise in independence within the connection, you know? So maybe that is something, if you're resonating with this, that you guys need, that's part of your story and part of the path that you need to work out as you guys reconnect and rebuild this. But this is so like healthy and beautiful, Scorpio, like healthy and beautiful. I really like this reading for you. It's very realistic, like the whole thing. You're just getting in touch. Like don't force anything. Don't force anything. It's all happening. It's all going to happen. Yeah. Okay, my friends, that's what I have for you. Thank you so much for joining me. See you guys next time. Bye-bye.